Lonesome Blue played their first live show, so
cool.
congrats to them. They had a nice packed crowd there. That looks really cool.
Their
Those of you
first
listening,
live show ever?
yeah, first live show as a group. I don't know if it's their
Oh,
first
okay.
ever,
Quick
but
question.
yeah.
Does this happen a lot over there? Where
First
bands
shows.
release full albums before they do one show as a band?
Nowadays, yes. I mean, that's what we try to do with Dichotic. We tried not to do any shows until we had a whole album out. So yeah,
Really?
and we did do that actually.
Wow.
We didn't have the album ready.
I
and
just
then we
I don't
did-
know why. I just always assumed that people played shows before they released albums. Like I don't know, to test out the
most
waters
people
and stuff.
do that though. Most people do that. I did that in previous bands, so I can definitely see why you would think that, because a lot of bands do that. They want to work it out, you know. But for me, I'm just
Mhm.
like now that you can have the ability to just take a camera and record what you're doing, you can perfect it like that, you know.
True.
What do you
True.
play if you don't have an album out?
The songs that you're working on, you know, like the songs that you've written but you haven't gone and recorded yet, you know.
See, my
That's
theory,
when-
That is ideal, because then you can hear, like, get the audience feedback and make improvements
Yeah.
before you.
And I'm not even talking about like a big show or anything. Just like, you know, you go in front of 150 people and you play like, you know, your 5-song set or whatever. I just always assumed that like every band did that before they
Yeah,
released
but
an
that's-
album.
You're referencing when people actually had to get together and play together to write songs. And what
Oh,
I
God.
think Wade was alluding to is you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah,
You
am I
can-
that old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
People don't just go and play in garages anymore, dude. They're online.
Garages are fun.
It's
We
so
gotta get
hard.
back to the garage bands.
Yeah, it is cool, but it's super inconvenient now. And now you can do a whole album in a room and barely disturb the person, you know, in the next apartment or whatever. And I guess that's what people are kind of utilizing. I imagine it's gotta be weird when they get together. It's like, okay, never actually played this song all the way through, you know.
yeah.
I was just thinking about this the other day.
I've done that shit. Like I go to play someone like, oh, I've never actually played the song all the way through. Let's go.
Yeah.
That nervous laughter meant a lot to me right there, though. You know?
I was just thinking about that the other day when I was watching like Muse play a live session, and just that band energy you get, because it was all filmed in one room. They were playing together, and it was like, man, I miss that, because I used to play in live bands, play at band practice and stuff, and now
Yeah.
like this last, I don't know, 5 years not playing with any other people, and it's such a different experience. And I miss actually playing with people in person.
Right.
Like when Yoyoka came over, that was the only time I've played with other people in a
Damn.
long time, and it was just such a rush, such a different experience, because you feed off that energy. And like, as much as I love staying in my own little hermit shell in my house and playing by myself, I know I have more fun if I'm playing with other people in person.
It is a really unique thing when you can experience that. And it used to be a lot more common than it is now. So yeah, there might be some people that it's weird because they may not miss it because their first experience wasn't that, like jamming around figuring out songs. Is they write it together and then they come together to perform it, as opposed to, I mean, they write it separately, you know, instead of figuring out together. I don't know. It's a very different dynamic.
Which wasn't an option back in the 90s.
No, it's just shifted. Well, not even just the 90s. I mean,
No, you're like
the first 10 years of the 2000s too. You know?
hurrying home, trying to remember a melody in your head so you can like write it down or something, or put on your tape recorder. I can't forget this. I'm gonna forget it.
Now I have like
things I had
5
and just
million
forgot.
voice notes that I'll never listen to
Right.
again.
Yeah, I guess
about
I think back to like, you know, being in bands, and it's like the amount of times that we did like rehearsal, like we would do rehearsal like twice per week, you know, before we ever played any shows. We would do that for like, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. And then we would play shows before we actually released any of our album stuff too, just to try to like, you know, grab a fan base and see how we were doing and blah, 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 blah. So I guess it's just shifted completely around where you do it in the opposite direction now. You write the music, you get a good recording of it, and then you hope that picks up enough that people are going to come see you after.
Yeah.
Well, look at the warning. Like they started on YouTube. They weren't even like super tight and professional yet when they started. They just shared their entire journey of learning their instruments and starting to play as a band. And now they're freaking tight rock stars. They opened for Muse last month. It's like that's such a different band experience than anything you'd see in the past, where you can literally watch these kids grow up playing together as a band. That's like behind the scenes stuff you'd never see from musicians that pop in the future, is when they're actually growing as musicians.
That's true.
Used to be introduced to them after they already know all their shit.
Yeah, you go to see a show and the band's already got a full lineup ready, you know? And like nowadays it's so crazy that you could work on one song for 6 months, release that one song and hope it gets 1 million viewers, and that might be all you have. You know, that might be the only content you've actually produced. But that's okay, because that's how the world works now.
Yep.
For more Gaijin goodies like you just saw, be sure to subscribe to the Gaijin Guys podcast and turn on all notifications to be part of the live stream every Sunday. You can also find us wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, etc. You can find even more exclusive content and reactions on our Patreon, patreon.com/Gaijin Guys. I'll see you there. Adios.